Hello everyone, welcome along in. It is Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. It's a strange time this week to be joining us. That's because we have a 1,000, the fifth biggest tennis tournament of the year. It's the Indian Wells Championships over in California. And did I say joining me to look ahead to the matches and the outright preview, breaking down the draw, is our man over in Palm Springs. It is Sean Calvert, our senior ATP Tour handicapper. Good morning to you, Sean. 8 hours different from us. Good morning to you.
Yes, good morning, mate. Yeah, it's 9:30 here. I've just been for a little wander. Actually, I'm staying in a few different places. Actually, I'm not staying in Palm Springs at the minute. That was yesterday. Today, I'm staying in Bermuda Dunes, which is right by the tennis. I can excuse me. I can walk from here to the front door of Indian Wells in probably 10 minutes. It would be quicker than 10 minutes, incidentally, if there wasn't a massive junction, a road junction, which takes about 5 minutes to cross. Huge, great thing. So, for the next couple of days, today and tomorrow, I'm here, right next to the tennis. And as I said, I've just been for a little wander, and it's like a gated community. There's like people have like timeshares and stuff here, and holiday homes here and stuff. I've just been for a little wander. The courts are full. I feel young here. Everyone's like about 90, and they're all out there. They look like they've been out there for ages, by the way. Playing like pickleball. A few people are playing tennis. It's packed down there. I think they've been down there since about 8 a.m. But
that's not qualification for the first round of Indian Wells you're watching.
Well, I did watch that yesterday. We'll come on to that in a minute. But now they all get up at like 5 a.m., don't they? They go for the little wanders and do what they're doing. And yeah, there was some hardcore pickleball being played over there just a few minutes ago.
Where are you in the next couple of days? You moving on from there? You going somewhere else, eh? Or you just coming?
Yeah, there was
a couple of days.
There was a slight problem with a couple of the bookings, but this place is only available now until tomorrow. I've got to leave here tomorrow morning, and then I'm moving over to Indio, which is a little way away. I won't even be able to get the $1 bus because it's not on the right route. I'll have to get an Uber, unfortunately, because of the way the roads.
That's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. Breaking into that Uber account.
The place I was going to stay before, that was in Palm Desert, which was on the $1 bus route. I would have got the $1 bus every day, but I've moved to India, which is somewhere I've never been, which is probably about 10 minutes away in a cab or whatever. So yeah, that's something that people can catch up on the Instagram tomorrow.
Yeah, follow the Instagram tomorrow. Sean has already given some videos. He's had a bit of pizza. He's been around Indian Wells, checking out the court conditions, checking out the various different things, all available exclusive on our Instagram account. At Because We Win. Keep across everything we're doing on socials here on Instagram and on X, formerly known as Twitter. And also make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Betting Weekly Studios. We're still very close to 1 million views and very, very close to 8,000 subscribers. We haven't taken those milestones yet, but we haven't had much content coming your way because we had to wait till the draw was announced. The draw was announced yesterday, but the first thing we sent Mr. Sean Calvert down to do yesterday was go and find out about the court conditions because they've changed the court. What did you find?
Yeah. I had to pay an extra $10 for this. So,
dear. Well, the information better be good.
It's an absolute bargain though. $10 for a whole day at Indian Wells. I know it's qualifying, but it's still some top players there. You sat there in the sun. $10. You got 7 or 8 hours, whatever, of decent quality tennis. I mean, the first thing I noticed, I went to watch. I watched a few different players to kind of get a sort of feel for what's going on. The first player I watched was Mpechi Pericard. He was practicing against Darderi yesterday on one of the practice courts. Very difficult to tell much from that because Mpechi can serve 140 mile an hour on pretty much anything. So I watched a bit of him. Then I watched another Frenchman. They're all Frenchmen I watched yesterday. Arthur Cazot. He's another guy that can serve pretty big. He was knocking some down at 135 mile an hour yesterday. He ended up losing. I mean, it looks exactly the same to me. It really does. If people hadn't said to me, this is now, a lake hold rather than a plexi pave, I wouldn't have noticed. I wouldn't have said anything. It just looks exactly the same. It's slow. It's high bouncing. It's kind of gritty. When you look at the court from close up, you can see a lot of sparkles in it. A lot of glints kind of catch your eye from the sort of sand and glass that they put on that surface to make it rougher. When people get this information about courts changing providers, they get very excited and think, oh, well, a lake hold is quick and a plexi pave is slow. It's not really the case. The tournament dictates the speed. They will have said to plexi pave in the past, they would have said to lake hold this time, look, this is how we want it. And they'd have gone, okay, that's how we'll do it. So it's not like it's not quicker. It looks exactly the same. I wouldn't have noticed a single bit of difference at all. I watched Mannarino against Lee 2 after that as well, another Frenchman. So I've watched a few matches yesterday, and it looks the same. They're playing with the same balls, the Pentour balls. They fluff up really, really quickly. I was keeping a close eye on that Mannarino match because you can get really close. You can get basically front row in qualies if if you're quick or you know where you want to be. So those balls, they do fluff up because this surface, as I said, it's very gritty. It's very kind of sandy, the top layer. So the balls do fluff up very quickly. So people are expecting this to be quicker this year because it's a lake hold. I'm not sure that's the case. I'm pretty sure it's, from what I've seen anyway, it looks exactly the same.
So now we know there's no real change from your eye test yesterday in the court conditions. The weather looks good, nice and fair, good weather conditions for the week.
Yeah, last week was really hot here. It was like 29, 30. I had a long conversation with an Uber driver, another Uber, yesterday. Well, it's hard to get from Palm Springs to Bermuda Dunes. You can't, again, it's not on the bus route, so that would have been difficult. And I got all my luggage, so that's kind of how I did it. She was saying it was super hot here last week. This week it is a little bit cooler. There was a talk of sort of rain around sort of Wednesday, Thursday, but it's not a major problem. As far as I can tell, the weather's going to be around about in between 23 and 27 degrees centigrade all week. Today it's around about 25, 26. The only problem you get here with the weather is in the evening it does get pretty cool here. After sort of 6 o'clock, the evening matches start at 7. That's when it tends to rain in my experience. It tends to rain here in the evenings rather than in the day. So the guys that are playing in the night sessions, you might get a bit of rain around. It's certainly cooler. I've obviously not seen a night match here yet this year, but it's pretty slow at night. So yeah, those are the conditions.
So the scheduling as the tournament progresses will be important. The daytime a little bit quicker than the nighttime. But as far as the conditions are concerned, from our man over courtside in Indian Wells, pretty much as we were. Conditions pretty much the same, not really much of a change. But there has been a bit of a change in the draw. I mean, when I printed off the draw today,
has there?
Really? Well, no, not in terms of people malling out. It just looked really odd to see Aleksandar Zverev, the number 1 seed, in a big tournament like this. That was where the change was. Obviously, now Sinner, who's always been in that number 1 position, he's obviously banned. And then you have at the bottom half, you have Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz in there as well. But it's really odd to see Aleksandar Zverev as the number 1 seed in a tournament of this kind of level. But that is what he is. Let's go through the draw. Before we do that,
shall I do the trends actually? Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I said. Before we do that, I'm going to say to you, just give you the trends and give you the previous winners and the sort of stats we need to find the idea of the person who will win this week. Well, it's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks, 10 days.
Yeah. So yeah, the number 1 seed, as you said, Aleksandar Zverev. It does, kind of feels a bit strange, doesn't it? But the top seed has only won the title once here in the last 7 editions, so not great omen for Zverev particularly. There's only been 1 unseeded champion. That's someone outside the top 32. I think they do 32 seeds here, don't they?
Yeah.
And that man, I don't think you'll get this, so I probably won't ask you. The winner, the only unseeded champion this century, Alex Corretja.
Oh, okay.
He was seeded, Cam Norrie. Alex Corretja in 2000 was the last unseeded champion this century. I suppose if you're looking at unseeded, I guess Fonseca will probably be quite high on people's lists of possible unseeded guys to emulate Alex Corretja. 3 of the last 5 winners here have been priced between 66 to 1 and 100 to 1. But weirdly, 5 of the last 6 runners-up have been priced between 5 to 4 plus 125 and 8 to 1. So the big price guys have been getting to the final and winning rather than getting to the final and losing. The last 2 years, it's been the same final, as people will probably remember Alcaraz against Medvedev last couple of years. And Alcaraz is looking for a three-peat here, isn't he? There's only a couple of players that have won 3 Indian Wells in a row, and that is Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic.
Yeah. Novak Djokovic has won it 5 times. Novak Djokovic, Alcaraz won it last year, beating Medvedev. The year before, Alcaraz, Medvedev. The year before that, it was Taylor Fritz who beat Nadal. Then we had Cam Norrie in that strange year. It was scheduled at a different time, wasn't it?
It was in October, I think, because of COVID.
Yeah. Basilashvili was in the final that year. Dominic Thiem and Roger Federer and Del Potro.
I had Thiem 80-1 a few years ago.
Well, we haven't had much luck on our outright picks so far this year, have we? I mean,
outrageous.
Incredible.
Absolutely outrageous. 7 players we've had that have gone down with either injury or sickness. Casper Ruud being the last one who was sick in Acapulco. It wasn't on his own, though, was it? There was, I think Holger Rune went down with it, Tommy Paul, one or two others. So, yeah, that's -7 units just in outrights that haven't even competed or competed maybe in one match and then withdrawn. So I've never known anything like that for forever. I've never known in about, 8 weeks of the season, 7 outrights to have gone down with injury and illness. It's mad. So we're due a big old slice of luck, that's for sure.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to get this over the next 10 days is the duration of this tournament. Starts obviously the 5th of March tomorrow and runs through the 16th of March, and Bet Rivers will have a whole host of markets available, and you'll be able to live stream any of the matches of your choosing if you do place a wager on that match on the Bet Rivers website or on the app. Now let's go to the draw, the really important draw, and it's quite a difficult one to get through actually because we've got 96 players in the draw. We have the top 32 seeds already through to the second round, and then the next 64 play for the right to play for one of the seeds. So I'm just going to give you the way that the bracket should go. You have Aleksandar Zverev, number 1 seed. In the quarterfinals, he should play Stefanos Tsitsipas, obviously the recent winner last week over in Dubai. Casper Ruud is the number 4 seed. He will play Medvedev, a 2 times runner-up in the last couple of years here. That's in the top half of the draw, which I think the top half of the draw is the top half of the draw is a lot weaker than the bottom half of the draw, where Q4 is impossible. We have Andrei Rublev, the number 7 seed. He will play Taylor Fritz. Obviously, there's some dangerous opponents in there as well, including Shapovalov, Draper, Felix Auger-Aliassime. And then we have the bottom draw, where it's very difficult. Novak Djokovic will play Carlos Alcaraz. They are the top 8 seeds. They are the way that this will go if it goes to seedings in the top half and the bottom half of the draw. And these are the odds with Bet Rivers to win the 2025 Indian Wells Championship. Carlos Alcaraz is +163. Aleksandar Zverev, the number 1 seed, is +600. Alcaraz obviously going for the 3rd consecutive title here in Indian Wells. Novak Djokovic, a 5-time champion, +650. Taylor Fritz, a former winner, carrying the American hopes at $9. Tommy Paul, 14. Tsitsipas played well, looking good again. We've been very critical of Tsitsipas, but he played really, really well to win in Dubai. 16-1. Alex de Minaur played a lot of tennis, 20-1. Medvedev, another shock loss for him when he started off brilliantly last week, and then he was beaten in 3 sets. Tallon Griekspoor, wasn't it?
Griekspoor, yeah.
Yeah,
a bit lucky Griekspoor to win that, in all fairness, but never mind.
But he was brilliant first set, Medvedev, and I thought he's back, and then he lost it a bit. Felix Auger-Aliassime, 25. Jack Draper, could it be a bit too slow for Jack Draper, 25. And Casper Ruud, recovering from injury after Acapulco, 25. Rublev, 28. Berrettini, 33. Lehechka, 33. Thomas Mahak is 33. And injury-prone Holger Rune at 33-1. A very, very short price favourite for Carlos Alcaraz. He hasn't been given a very, very easy draw, though, short, and it's a tough 4th quarter, that. Yet he's a +163 shot here.
Yeah, I mean, conditions suit him here, as we know. Loves playing here, but, that draw in Q4 is very, very difficult for him, isn't it? I mean, I got this draw last night. Obviously, I'm 8 hours behind you guys. I managed to get this printed out last night and had a look at it, and I came to some conclusions, and I've kind of changed my mind based on the odds that Bet Rivers have produced here. They're not taking any chances, are they, on Taylor Fritz and Tommy Paul? Particularly Paul was one I was looking at getting involved in, but yeah, not 14-1. I mean, if you're looking for value, the obvious place to go really is there's 2 places: Q1, which is where Aleksandar Zverev is, and Q3, which I'll come on to in a minute. I mean, Zverev, I'm not convinced about at all. He's never played well here. He's talked about the conditions. He struggles with the conditions here. I'm not 100% sure why, but he does. He's never made the semi-finals at this particular tournament. Zverev, he had a poor time of it in South America and Central America. He lost some matches that you just wouldn't expect him to lose over on the clay in the Golden Swing, and also in Mexico as well. He won't have an easy opener either against the aforementioned Griekspoor or Kecmanovic. So I think there's an opportunity here in the top half of the draw. And the obvious one that I was going to go, well, not obvious, but the one I was going to go for in the Q2 was Tommy Paul, as I said. A great record here, 11-4 win-loss, made the semi-finals last year, was unlucky to lose actually to Medvedev. He was a set-up and in a second set tiebreak, rolled his ankle, got a little bit unlucky there. Won 14 of his last 19 matches on tour, but 14-1 is too short for me. I hope this doesn't turn into a similar situation that we had with Tsitsipas last year in Monte Carlo, where I couldn't put him up because of the odds. Bet Rivers were being very, very clever about the odds that they produced on Tsitsipas, and I think same here with Tommy Paul. He's a definite contender in Q2. He's one that I fancy, but 14-1, I can't back him at that. It's too short. The other one I like in Q2 is a really, really big price. I'm going out on a limb here.
I think you're going to say the same as me. I think.
You think so? I'm going for Lorenzo Musetti, 150-1.
No, wasn't going to. I thought Medvedev was a big price at 20-1. I know he's not playing the greatest performance, but 2-time finalist, slow court, 20-1's a big price at Medvedev.
Well, what puts me off Medvedev is that he's made the final here the last couple of years, despite the conditions being very unsuitable for him. And he's done it because he's come here the last 2 years on an unbelievable run. I think it was the year before. I think he won Rotterdam, Dubai, and Doha, and came here, and he was absolutely on a tear, and he ended up making the final. Similar last year. I think he won Doha last year. He certainly had a good start to the season. Final of Australian Open. He's a confidence player, Medvedev. When he's on a tear, he's on a tear. And when he's not, he's not. I just feel like this year he's come in here with a lot of doubt, whereas in previous years he was absolutely flying and probably wasn't even thinking about what he was doing. It was all just coming naturally. That's what puts me off him. Musetti's 150-1. Yeah, it's a huge price, but
big price.
I think he's just been kind of forgotten about a little bit, which is kind of strange. He hasn't shone here yet, Musetti. But it takes a while to get used to these playing conditions. He's only played 6 matches at this particular tournament. There's plenty of players that have struggled in their first few years here and then gone on. They've understood the conditions and they've gone on to go really far. He's had a calf injury on the Golden Swing, so he hasn't really been able to play there, which you could look at as a good thing. He's certainly not fatigued. Assuming he's over that calf injury, on his best form, 150-1 is massive. He's Wimbledon semi-finalist last summer. Made the Olympic semi-finals a couple of days after the UMAG final as well on the clay. On his best form, 150-1 is too big in this particular section. He also beat Zverev, incidentally, on indoor hard in Vienna towards the end of last year. So if we're saying, and I am, that Zverev is opposable here, then I think there's quite a few options. Tsitsipas is one option that you mentioned there. That's kind of an obvious one in Q1. For me, I'm not sure about Tsitsipas. I think he was very lucky in some of those matches that he played last week. He should have lost to Berrettini, that's for sure. Berrettini should have beaten him. A little bit lucky as well against Griekspoor. I'll talk about him in a minute. Griekspoor was injured in that match. Felix was poor in the final. And I don't really want to take anything away from Tsitsipas. I did say last week when I talked about him, I said he doesn't seem to be doing anything to arrest this slide. And while I was saying that, he'd already gone out and got himself a new racket, which is exactly the kind of thing that I talked about. Yes, he's now doing something, whereas before he seemed to be just content to just kind of muddle along, not really doing a great deal. Now he's made a change. It's been successful for him. That confidence could see him go far at this tournament. He's not got a good record here either, though, which again is quite strange given that it's slow, high bouncing, kind of like clay. I would have expected his record to be better here. Similarly, Casper Ruud in Q2, he's another player you would think conditions suit him, but they don't. He's always complained that he's not happy about the conditions here in Indian Wells. Some of it is the balls, these pen balls. They're not used much on the tour, so the players are a little bit in two minds about them. But I think there are a lot of options just looking at this draw in the top half. As I said, I would have gone for Tommy Paul, but I'm going to take Musetti at the top half, 150s. Do you want me to do the bottom half?
Yeah, 150-1 for Musetti. Tommy Paul is on Sean's radar, but 14-1. He feels that Bet Rivers are being very cautious about the price, and he agrees with that. In the bottom half of the draw, you do have that Q4, which does look very, very hard. Djokovic, Serendulu, Hurkacz, Minaur. We've got Dimitrov, we've got Korda, we've got Shapovalov, we've got Alcaraz. We've got collision course to get Djokovic against Alcaraz in the quarterfinals. Q3, I can imagine that's where you may be looking at getting some value.
It is. I mean, again, the obvious one is Taylor Fritz, but again, Bet Rivers are not taking any chances of him at all. 9-1 is very short for me, considering he's not been fit hardly at all this season. Abdominal injury was his latest issue. He's had other injury problems as well at the start of this season, Taylor Fritz. So I think the alternative, and a very good alternative in Q3 to Taylor Fritz is our old pal, good friend of yours, Andrei Rublev. I think it's a much more palatable price. I think he's 28-1. Can't see on that screen.
Yes, 28-1.
Yeah, I mean, if he reproduces the form that he showed in Doha here in this quarter, I think that will be a decent price. Obviously, whoever comes out of Q4, you would think is going to be pretty strong, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were some upsets in that fourth quarter. I mean, Djokovic hasn't played well here for many years. He's not. Let's have a look at Djokovic. He's got an 84% win rate here, but he's lost 4 of his last 6 matches at this tournament. I think he lost to Nardi last year. Last time he made the final, Djokovic, was 2016. So I know he's not played it a few times, but he's not, for me, in any way certain to go the distance. But there's a lot of alternative Kyrgioses in his section as well. Davidovich Fokina, who's playing really, really well at the minute, top of his form. He's in that section. Cerundolo, who should enjoy these conditions. As you said, Hurkacz, Minaur, Dimitrov, who really does go well here. The gritty surface does suit his slice quite well. But he's another one that's not been fit. But if he is fit, he's certainly got an opportunity. Minaur is an obvious one. Seb Korda, again, if he's fit. Shapovalov, who's playing some really good tennis at the minute after a while in the doldrums. That's a really tough quarter. If you look at Q3, where Rublev is, it's much more open, isn't it? The likes of Nakashima, Kashanov, Draper, you'd think it was too slow. Felix, I'm not convinced about in these conditions. Tabilo, who's in no form at all, and a potentially injured Taylor Fritz. And then obviously Fonseca.
He was the one I quite like him. 40-1, I quite like him. I mean, he's going to be very, very popular. He's played Jacob Fernley in round 1. Draper, you got 2 Brits. I think he'll beat the 2 Brits in the conditions. Felix will be exhausted, and I think it'll be too slow for Felix. Then he's got Fritz if Fritz gets by, and we know that's a difficult match. And then he could run into Rublev, who he beat in the Australian Open. So, and he beat him very, very well as well. So
yeah, he did.
He'll be popular. I quite like him to win that Q3. Actually, I think he's got a good price.
I think I think a lot of people will agree with it. I think I don't disagree. I think a lot of people will fancy Fonseca. I just think he's being priced a bit skinny for me. 40-1, I think he is, isn't he?
Yeah. But I mean,
I could be wrong. That might look massive in 10 days' time. I don't know, but
or it could be the last time we ever see him at 40-1 in a big tour if he wins this. I mean, I'm on him to win the US Open, so I want him to have a good run here and do well at the US Open at triple figure prices. So let's see where we get on. But
yeah, I think it's a big ask. It just feels like it's maybe a little bit too soon for him. I could be wrong, but he's certainly got a chance in there. You would expect Draper to beat him on a hard court, but it is a slow hard court, so he's certainly got the capability. Yeah, I mean, I like Rublev. I just like his draw. I think he's got a really good draw there. Just to say that the level he played in Doha, as I said, it was really impressive. His service points won and return points won total in Doha was 109. 93% holds the serve, 62% second serve points won, and that's in matches against Felix, Alex de Minaur, and Jack Draper. So the slow conditions, I think, will suit him as well. He's a guy that does like a slow court, obviously very, very decent on clay. Made the semi-finals here in 2022. I felt he should have won it in 2022. It was the year that everybody, all the top seeds went out. Rublev was the favourite coming into the semi-finals, ended up losing to Fritz. Got a chance for revenge here. So yeah, if he's able to replicate that Doha form, then I think 28-1 is pretty decent each way there. So yeah, just a couple of bets. I obviously can't take Tommy Paul's at that price. So Musetti each way, 150-1 is massive, and Rublev I think has got a very good chance in Q3 at 28-1.
Yeah, nice couple of prices there. But Tommy Paul, keep an eye on him. Maybe bet him in a couple of match bets as he gets through to the latter stages. But he is the bet, or Paul Tommy, as producer John likes to call him. But it's Tommy Paul is our pick. We have 4 matches for tomorrow, and as I said, the matches start later on in the day if you're not involved in your stateside. But obviously, this is over in the West Coast, so it's very, very, very long way back in terms of the time difference from me to Sean here. So I think these matches start at around about, what time do they start, Sean? Is it 10 o'clock your time, which would be 12 o'clock Eastern time, or would that be 1 o'clock Eastern time? Would that be right?
Well, 10 is 11 to 1.
I think it'd be 1 o'clock.
6. It's about 6. About 6 p.m. UK.
I think 2 o'clock Eastern time these matches start, which will be 7 o'clock so it's a late start. So we've got loads of time to get on the bets with Bet Rivers. You can head across now if you want to get the bets on and make sure you get the lines that Sean suggests, or you've got a little bit of time tomorrow morning to get the bets on. They're all tomorrow, and every single match will be live streamed on the Bet Rivers website and on the app, and you'll be able to bet live and watch live with Bet Rivers. Is that an aeroplane going over you? That noise? I can hear a funny noise. I don't know if
yeah.
You've got an aeroplane going over. Okay,
let's move on. It's the guy doing the lawns outside.
Oh, okay. I thought you were on a runway. Okay, let's start off with the first match we're going to discuss is Kecmanovic against Tallon Griekspoor. And this is more or less a pick-a match with Bet Rivers. Kecmanovic is -105, Griekspoor is -120. Spread is 1.5. Total here is 22.5. And the first thing I looked at was the total at 22.5, because Griekspoor matches usually around about 23.5. And sometimes I've seen them even higher. These two, they've played 3 matches before, and they have gone. I mean, you're talking about going the distance. These have gone the distance. There's been 5 tie breaks in those 3 matches. The opening set in 2 of the 3 has been a tie break. The match in Hertogenbosch in 2024 was 6-7-7, 6-7-6. They went 5 sets at Wimbledon, all in 2020, all last year. And again in Beijing, it went all the way after Kecmanovic won the first set, and Greeks will come through 6-3 in the finale. 3 matches, all gone the distance. 2-1 the head-to-head to Griekspoor. Money has come for Griekspoor. Did well last week, reached the semi-finals of Dubai, whereas Kecmanovic, after winning the tournament in Delray Beach, got beaten round 1 by Altmaier in Acapulco. The games look cheap. Tie breaks, I don't know about your tie break stats, but a tie break in this match could be a big runner.
Yeah, I mean, the serves have been dominant in this matchup, but they have been played on, a couple of them have been played on grass. Very, very different conditions here at Indian Wells to Rosmalen and Wimbledon. I'm on the wrong section here. I was looking at the wrong match. Yeah, I mean, the prices are. I've just done all these this morning in my time because I had the matches last night, but didn't have any odds. And in the sort of 2 or 3 hours that I've been up and looked at these, the prices have been moving all over the place on a lot of these matches. I just think this is the wrong favourite. I think this is a match where I would have the favourites, the prices the other way around. I do like Kecmanovic as a slight dog here. I think the conditions will definitely suit him more than Griekspoor for me. And the head-to-head stats anyway of the matchup, although Griekspoor won 2 of them, that the statistics do favour Kecmanovic, and you would suggest that he's been a little bit unlucky to be 2-1 behind in this series. The head-to-head is, in terms of service points won and return points won across the 3 meetings, 102 to 98 in favour of Kecmanovic. Now, the reason that he hasn't won 2 of these 3 matches is that he hasn't taken enough of his breakpoint chances. Only 26% conversion rate for Kecmanovic in those 3 matches versus 36% for Griekspoor. So ultimately, Griekspoor's just played better on the big points and has been able to nick it. One of them, as you said, was 3 tie breaks on the grass. And the other one was at Wimbledon. Griekspoor was a little bit unlucky in that Wimbledon one. He ended up being, I think he was 2-1 up, then he ended up being a little bit injured towards the end. But talking about injuries, Griekspoor did not look fit to me at all against Tsitsipas in Dubai. Had the trainer out, medical timeout. I think it was a right leg, upper right leg or groin issue that he had there. Played quite a lot of long, tough matches there, Griekspoor. Whereas Kecmanovic, as you said, he looked like he took a bit of a week off, didn't he? He'd won Delray Beach. Clearly didn't fancy it much in Acapulco. Probably thought, yeah, I'll give it a go, but I'm not too concerned about him losing in the first round there at all. If you look at the Indian Wells records of these two respectively, Griekspoor, not surprising that he struggled here. He's only won 2 of his 5 matches at this tournament, never beaten a top 50 opponent at Indian Wells, Griekspoor. And his service points won and return points won total at this tournament is 98. Kecmanovic, on the other hand, very good record here, 7-5 win-loss, twice a quarter-finalist at this tournament, and a service points won and return points won total of 102. So again, better numbers for Kecmanovic there. As I said, he's just come from winning on what is a kind of a slow, gritty-ish, quite high bouncing hard court in Delray Beach. I know it's a lot more humid there, obviously in Florida, but similar-ish conditions in terms of the actual court surface for me. So happy to take Kecmanovic at minus 104, minus 105, whatever he is there. Slight underdog against a Griekspoor that I think isn't fit and doesn't really enjoy these conditions.
Yep, minus 105 in Bet Rivers for Kecmanovic. There has been money for Griekspoor in the last 24 hours since the lines come out, the draws come out. So he may continue to get a little bit shorter, but Kecmanovic is Sean's pick at minus 105. Remember, the action starts at 2 p.m. tomorrow on Wednesday. The next match we up is Christopher O'Connell up against Roberto Carballes Baena. Carballes Baena has been a very, very popular pick on this channel in recent weeks. O'Connell is minus 155. Carballes Baena is plus 125. Carballes Baena leads 1-0 in the head-to-head. It was a match where Christopher O'Connell had to retire from. 2.5 is the spread. Total's 22.5. And if you look at the world rankings at the moment, Carballes Baena is 23 spots higher than the Aussie here. And also, Carballes Baena is a player that you would think would be suited more by the slower conditions, but yet he is a bit of an underdog. This is an underdog that is being bet though, so the plus 125 may disappear. Where are we heading here, Sean?
Yeah, the price that I looked at about an hour ago has disappeared. It was plus 145 at Bet Rivers earlier on. So, yeah, it's occupational hazard for me, unfortunately, isn't it? Looking at these matches and then, doing a show a few hours later, it often does move one way or the other. This one's moved in the direction that I think makes sense because it does look a bad price, O'Connell, on the hard court data. I've said a few times that Carballes Baena is underrated on hard courts, and he certainly has been again here. He certainly was at plus 145. If we look at the last 12 months at main level and outdoor hard, Carballes Baena, 50% win rate, and a service points won and return points won total of 101. O'Connell, 48% win rate and a total of 97. So a distinct advantage to Carballes Baena here. As I've said, it doesn't look quick at all at this tournament, which I don't think it will favour either player, to be honest. I think Carballes Baena, his better results recently have been on quicker surfaces. But I don't think this will favour O'Connell either. This has got physical grind written all over it to me. And Carballes Baena is certainly a tempting price. He doesn't lose that often these days on outdoor hard to players ranked around the sort of level that O'Connell is at the minute. What is he, 75? Doesn't tend to lose too often on a hard court to players ranked around that ranking. O'Connell, on the other hand, has lost 6 of his last 9 matches against players ranked between 45 and 55, which is the range that Carballes Baena is at the minute. Neither guy's got much of a record at Indian Wells. Carballes Baena hasn't played particularly well here. I think a lot of this will come down to how well O'Connell hits his backhand on the day. He's got that single-handed backhand, which can go awry. It certainly went awry when I backed him the other week against Jack Draper. He was absolutely awful that day against Draper. Terrible. So if he hits his backhand well, he might be able to win this match, but minus 155 in what I think will be a grind in slow conditions. Carballes Baena, for me, I think you have to take him on the hard court stats. And if it's a physical battle, he's already won one physical battle against O'Connell. I know it was on the clay, but this is going to be quite similar, I think. So Carballes Baena for me. Yeah,
plus 125 is the price for Carballes Baena. It was plus 145, but that is still a big enough price for Sean to get involved on the Spaniard. Now, the next match is an interesting one. It's a pick a match. Bet Rivers cannot split them. Up to you which way you want to go. Christian Boyer, minus 112, against Aleksandar Vukic, minus 112. Now, Christian Boyer is the name that's probably the first time we've seen on this show. He's a 24-year-old American who is from California, and he went to Stanford College, so he's a local boy. He's going to have a big support there. Will that be enough to get him past a much more experienced opponent in Aleksandar Vukic? But he's not in great form, Vukic here. The win price on the money line is -112, as I said. 22.5 is the total. The spread is pretty much the same. You can take -1.5, +1.5. The money line is where it's all out on this match. There's currently 10 markets available on the BetRivers website tonight, Tuesday, but by tomorrow, on Wednesday, you'll have about 30 different markets to go if you want to have a pick on this match. Don't know much about Tristan Boyer, but I can imagine him being very, very heavily supported tomorrow.
Yeah, he's a local lad, as you said. He's from just north of Pasadena. I think it's kind of north, just slightly out of Los Angeles on the north side. Got a wild card here. He's going to get a lot of support from the stands. I mean, I say that it's always quite quiet here. I've never really known the crowd kind of get into too many matches on the outside courts. I don't know where this one's going to be played, but it always tends to be a little bit on the quiet side for me here. Not sure why, but anyway, this is another one where the odds have moved in the last sort of half an hour or so. Vukic was plus money earlier on, which is why he took my interest, actually. I just didn't think that Boyer should be, priced up as favourite here against Vukic, who's got a surprisingly good record at Indian Wells. I wouldn't have thought that Vukic would enjoy the conditions here. He prefers a much kind of slicker, quicker surface, probably grass or a quick hard cut would probably be his conditions of choice. But if you look what he's done at Indian Wells, if you include qualifying, he's won 7 of his 11 matches here. And he's got service points won and return points, won a total of 103. Winning 40% of return points. Very un-Vukic-like statistics, these. So he has enjoyed the conditions here. He took a set off Novak Djokovic here last year, actually, which surprised me at the time. But he obviously doesn't mind these conditions at all for whatever reason. Boyer played very well at the end of last year, won a challenger on the clay, actually, in Montevideo, qualified at the Australian Open, but his main level experience is very, very limited. He's only played 3 matches at main level, only won 1 of them, which was a 5-set success over Correa, Federico Correa at the Australian Open. Lost to Alex Bolt at the San Diego Challenger last week. He's got some weapons, Boyer. He does like to attack, which may or may not work on these sort of slow courts. Federer made it work for him, obviously, over the years, but it's not always a great play to be a particularly attacking player. Obviously, Alcaraz won here the last couple of years. I just felt that when I looked at these prices and Vukic was plus money, I was certainly on the side of Vukic, on the side of experience, on the side of the fact that he does play well here. Boyer probably going to be a bit nervous as well. It'll be a massive match for him in home territory. Price has just moved a little bit, which is kind of put me off. But if you can get Vukic at sort of even money, plus 100, then it's a bet.
Yeah, going with experience rather than youth in that match there. But Tristan Boyer will have some support. Aleksandar Vukic has a good record in Indian Wells, and he should get the job done against a player that's only played 3 matches at this level. Our final match is an interesting one for me, and actually I quite like this one as the best bet of the day, actually. Interesting to see what Sean has to say. Jordan Thompson is -155 against Corentin Moutet. We have had an in-and-out love affair with Corentin Moutet on this channel. More out of love with him than in love with him. He was pretty poor in his last round match against Zuma in Santiago. He got beat by Echeverry in the first round of Rio de Janeiro, and he comes into here on the back of 3 successive losses. But his opponent, Jordan Thompson, is a player who's just had surgery a month ago. Was out injured since the Australian Open. He was very heavily beaten by Nuno Borges in his home slam. Had to have some surgery. I think it was a calf injury, wasn't it? Or a leg injury?
Ankle, I think.
Ankle injury.
Yeah.
And then he pulled out the tournament. Well, prior to that, in the build-up, they got to the quarterfinals of Brisbane and had to pull out there as well, injured as well. He's making his he's making his reappearance on the tour since then. And he's, with big question marks about his fitness levels up against Corentin Moutet, who is inconsistent but is capable of anything on any given day. Jordan Thompson's -155. Corentin Moutet is +125. Spread 1.5. Total here is 22.5. This is the first time they have ever played a competitive match together, but the money, unsurprisingly, is for Moutet, and the current price of +125 with BetRivers is the best price in the world. This is the best bet of the day tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind taking a chance on the unpredictable nature of Corentin Moutet, then he's certainly got his chances here as underdog, as you said. Thompson hasn't played at all, I don't think, since the Australian Open with that ankle injury. I don't believe he's played any other sort of tournaments, like exhibitions or anything like that. I don't think he's played at all.
No, he hasn't played anything. Last time, Borges 3-0 hammered.
Yeah, and that was he wasn't fit then either, and that was not quite a couple of months ago, but almost a couple of months ago. So the ankle injury has been his issue. He's withdrawn from 4 tournaments since the Australian Open with that injury. I'm not convinced about him in a couple of ways here as well. I'm not convinced about him against left-handers. He's lost to lefties here at Indian Wells in his last 2 appearances. Jerry Shang beat him, and Alejandro Tabilo beat him here as well. I just don't feel like the slow, kind of almost clay-like conditions would suit Jordan Thompson. We know that Thompson is pretty awful on the clay. I don't think he would even mind me saying that if he happened to watch this show. I think he would probably agree. He doesn't really put much in on the clay swing. If we look at what he's done here, it kind of mirrors that. He's won 4 of his 10 matches at Indian Wells, and his service points won and return points won total is 97. He's also lost 6 of his last 10 matches against left-handers. Moutet obviously is a left-hander. You would expect Moutet to enjoy the slower conditions here. I don't think he's ever played it, Moutet, actually. He did disappoint me against Zuma in Santiago. Not that I saw much of it because the power kept going off. But it could only happen to Corentin Moutet, couldn't it? He couldn't get his rackets restrung during that match because they had no power. So that sent him over the edge a little bit. It doesn't take much. I think this would be an interesting watch. I'm kind of hoping this is going to be on Wednesday or Thursday. I'll be there Wednesday or Thursday as well as today. I'll be going over there in a bit as well. So if that's on Wednesday or Thursday, which it should be, then it's one that I will certainly go and watch. And I think it does scare me back in Moutet. If you've never seen him, he is a little bit unpredictable, to say the least, in his emotions and stuff. So I just think there's a lot of reasons to be with him here. I know he's come from the clay, which isn't ideal, but Thompson's not played at all since January. So I think this is a great chance for Moutet. Whether he takes it or not is mainly up to how he's feeling on the day.
The one thing that is certain, that Moutet will not start this match at plus 125. I think that line will get bet very, very heavily. I think he'll start around about even money for this match. If looking at the money market's going to go, and to take a chance on a guy, he had surgery a month ago, so I'm not so sure if I want to be doing that. It's going to take him a bit of time to get back in the swing of things, and Moutet has got the game to do absolutely anything. So if you are going to have a bet, head across the BetRivers website, watch it, buckle in. It will be a bumpy ride. That's it for today's Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. Before I go, Sean, if you just give us your best bets for the card tomorrow in Indian Wells.
Yeah, I'll just go in reverse order then that I've just done. So Corentin Moutet plus 125 for BetRivers to beat Jordan Thompson. Carballes Baena, again, plus money, plus 225 to beat Christopher O'Connell. Miomir Kecmanovic at around about minus 104, 1.96 for BetRivers to beat Tallon Griekspoor. And the outrights, I'm taking a chance on a really big price with Lorenzo Musetti each way, 150 to 1 in that very open top half. And the also open Q3 in the bottom half, Andrei Rublev, my pick there, 28 to 1 each way with BetRivers. Also
keep an eye out for Tommy Paul as well. BetRivers are being very cautious on their price. That's the one we're not having a bet with him on here. But as the tournament goes on, you might want to look at Tommy Paul's progress as well, because Sean thinks he's got a great chance to do well in this tournament. Make sure you follow Sean, as I said at the top of the show, on our Instagram account, @BecauseWeWin. Please hit that subscribe button. Really, really important to hit that subscribe button. We want to get those views up and up and up, and we'll get subscribers up and up as well. Almost 1 million views, almost 8,000 subscribers. Really, really important to get that. And with your help, we can do that. Betting Weekly live every day, 11 o'clock Eastern time and 4 p.m. in the UK. There won't be a show tomorrow because of the time difference, and we've just covered the matches for Wednesday, but hopefully we'll be together on Thursday this week. Is that okay with you, Sean? You're not moving Thursday, but we'll be okay on Thursday?
I'm not moving on Thursday. I'm at the tennis. I was there tennis yesterday. I'll be there today. I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be there Thursday. So I think we can probably do it
before you head off.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we'll do something on Thursday. Time difference is going to be quite difficult here for this week and next. But remember, you can follow all the shows on the website and on the socials and on Twitter, and we'll put any publicly up whenever we're going to record. But hoping to do something for Thursday. With the time difference, hopefully it can be done. That's it for today. We're back on Thursday. Remember, there's Betting Weekly, WTA, myself and Rory dropping a little bit later on, looking at the women's tournaments. Not only is it a men's tournament over in Indian Wells, it's a women's tournament as well, and it's a big week of tennis, and this is the only place you want to be to have all your tennis bets covered. There's a lot happening across the World Champions League as well. Anything, if you're a betting fan on tennis or you're a betting fan on soccer, this is your only place to be. The #1 sports betting YouTube channel, Betting Weekly Studios. Hit that subscribe button. Take care for the day. We'll be back again with Sean on Thursday. Enjoy your action. Enjoy your day at the tennis tomorrow, and hopefully let's cash some tickets.